I'm Zach, the Film Beat editor,
I'm Mitchell, film beat writer.
I'm Rami, film beat writer.
and we're going to be talking about the Oscars and our predictions. We can start with Best Picture, the biggest one. A lot of good films in this category, and one not very good one. How did Elvis make it on there? I don't know.
Because it's fun.
No, it's not.
Because it's fun, goddammit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what Elvis has going for it. Nothing. Okay, it has Austin Butler, who is decent doing his impression of Elvis.
He's great.
He isn't really given much to do.
I know you, and probably you too, both wanted Babylon to get the nomination, too.
Yeah, it should have gotten the nod and it should have won Best Picture. And it's going to be, within 5 years, people are going to look at it like a modern classic that was forgotten at its time. So, yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, what's going to win? I think we're all in agreement what's going to win is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's not that much of a question. It's getting a lot of attention. Everyone likes it.
Hear me out. The Fabelmans. Okay.
It's not
No.
gonna
Hear me
win.
out. The way the Oscars do these ballots now for Best Picture is ranked choice.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Everything Everywhere might be a little too weird for some people. They'll put it really low. I think The Fabelmans, as long as everyone has seen it, is probably going to be in at 2 or 3 on most people's, and will probably be 1 on several. A movie that just is generally very well liked, if not loved, but not hated. That's how you win Best Picture now.
I frankly don't think many people hated Everything Everywhere All at Once, though. I think that's gonna be what leads that to win. Everyone likes it. It's like it's not like a blockbuster, but it got a lot of like wide appeal, a lot of attention.
You could make that argument for Top Gun. So why is Everything Everywhere going to win and Top Gun not
Top
gonna
Gun's
win?
not a prestigious film. Like Everything Everywhere All at Once has like veneer of being prestigious.
I don't think the Academy is all that concerned with the prestige of A24.
I think it's because people enjoyed Top Gun but loved Everything Everywhere.
That's not necessarily true.
Really?
I think there are a lot of people who aren't super into movies that went and saw Top Gun and thought that was the best thing I've seen in years. I think you could make all of the arguments you're making about Everything Everywhere are true, but could also be made of something like Top Gun.
But I think you also need to compare it to just like general quality of movie. And I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is a better movie than Top Gun. Like, I think they have like the rare opportunity to make the right choice, not my right choice, like a right choice.
Yeah.
And also a choice that will please people.
Yeah.
That's so easy here with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. We're not gonna move on to Best Director, because I mean the two big ones, Spielberg and the Daniels for Fabelmans and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
If you want to say Everything Everywhere will win Best Picture, I'll be like, yeah, okay. I could definitely see that. That's it's the favorite right now. Like, I could totally see it happen. I am less confident that the Daniels are going to win Best Director, because I think, although that hasn't really held in the last 3 or 4 years, because I think we've had a couple of matched Best Director and Picture winners, I really think the Academy wants to give Spielberg Best Director. It's sort of that he does have 2 Best Director Oscars already, but it's sort of that old master, one last ride, very personal film to him. Clearly a very beloved film by the Academy.
Yeah, and I think his like directing skill in that film is really what makes it good. I think kind of his personal touch, because it's like semi-autobiographical. But I think the Daniels still probably might get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I disagree. I think Spielberg definitely has this one. At least, like, because I don't see Spielberg giving as intimate of a movie as this and putting it out there as kind of a swan song, even though he might do more, but this really is a swan song. And the Academy not giving it to him for that. But I will say, I think Todd Field has a better chance than a lot of people think.
Really? I don't even remember what he's nominated for. Which one is that?
That's Tar.
Tar? Okay, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Spielberg and the Daniels are the two major ones. They're like the main conversation. I think most people would agree they are like the best directing choices out there. Like, they definitely deserve the nominations. So
I think ultimately what might seal it for Spielberg is the Daniels. They're very young, and their track record would suggest they'll probably be here again if they can conjure up the same love for a movie that they did this year. They'll have several more opportunities and several more films to win Oscars for. How many more great movies is Spielberg gonna have? Like, I love the guy. He's the greatest director of all time. Are you gonna get Spielberg to deliver a movie of this quality ever again? Probably not, and that's fine. But they're really not going to have a better chance to reward him for something that would be worthy of rewarding him for.
This one, who will win? I have a feeling it's going to be Austin Butler.
It will be Austin.
It will be Austin
It will be
Butler.
Austin
It will
Butler.
be Austin Butler.
I think everyone liked his performance in Elvis, even if we didn't like the movie itself. Because he's like fully devoted to the role, which I
Oh,
think
for
was
sure.
fun.
He does the most that he can with the material given to him,
Yeah.
which is admittedly not very much.
Yeah, not much.
Also, he's in a biopic, so he will get it.
If
Musician
Rami Malek
biopic.
is winning for Bohemian Rhapsody, Austin Butler is clearly going to
Yeah.
win for this.
Although I feel like this is the category that most will be upsetting when he wins, because there are a lot of other really good people in the category. There's Colin Farrell in Banshees and Paul Mescal in Aftersun specifically.
If you want to talk about nominated Best Actor performances that greatly expand on the minimal material given, Brendan Fraser in The Whale is significantly better than Austin Butler in Elvis, and I despise The Whale. But he's giving a very emotional performance. Obviously, Colin Farrell's clearly the best of this bunch.
I disagree. I think Paul Mescal's the best. I think he just gives a really emotional performance in Aftersun. I think without Paul Mescal in Aftersun, that movie wouldn't have achieved like the acclaim that it got.
See, but here's the thing with Aftersun, is I think Paul Mescal is great in it, and his performance is great, but it's very much playing one emotion, which is just like this deep sadness, trying to put the facade over that. But Colin Farrell is really delicately balancing multiple tones throughout the entirety of Banshees, which is both the funniest and the saddest movie I saw last year. He's also often doing it in one scene, which is really tough to pull off. I haven't seen a performance like that in years. It's by far the best of the Best Actor nominees.
Especially because he hasn't won one yet. Like, the argument for him from the Academy's perspective is that you wouldn't give it to Austin Butler because there's a lot of backlash over Rami Malek winning for Bohemian Rhapsody. They want to distance themselves from that, like, sigil. The argument against Paul Mescal is that he's young and Aftersun has no other nominations. So that leaves Colin Farrell, who is the best. If there was going to be a dark horse, it would be him. Like, they're going to give it to Austin Butler, but they don't want it to give it to Austin Butler because they know that people are going to be really mad.
But I feel like it's going to be split between Colin Farrell and Brendan Fraser. I feel like they both have kind of the same narrative around them right now. I think they'll split votes maybe that way, and that's obviously just going to clear a path for Austin Butler.
I would have agreed with you like a few months ago, but The Whale's like disappeared. Like, before the movie release, people were very high on Brendan Fraser and like the return, the comeback, and The Whale's come out and people hate it. There's no positives except for Brendan Fraser. They never give Best Actor or Best Director or Best Picture to a movie with 1 or 2 or 3 nominations, and I think that's going to be the same here.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he's going to take that many votes away from Colin Farrell.
This one's probably the easiest category to predict and say who should win. It's almost certainly going to be Ke-Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere at Once. I don't think there's much question on that he will win, and I think he does really deserve it. Like, he's really elevating that role and adding a lot of like personality to that character. Yeah.
I love him in that movie. He's probably my favorite part of Everything Everywhere. Unfortunately, Brendan Gleeson gives probably the second best performance in any movie this year, second only to Colin Farrell in the same movie, because his character in Banshees is just such a dick. But it's really important that we as the audience like that character, because we need to have reason to understand why Colin Farrell's character wants to mend that relationship with Brendan Gleeson. And I think it's a very easy performance to mess up and a very easy character to like make completely unlikable, and he doesn't.
And if we're gonna go off like purely ease of acting and how easy the role comes to the actor, then that would also go to Ke-Huy Quan, because it seems like from what I've seen, like the interviews, the acceptance speeches, he just is the character, like just like a kind of ball of unbridled joy.
Yeah.
And that's not to take anything away from him. I think he was fantastic in the movie. But if we're just going on pure like acting ability, I agree Brendan Gleeson had a much better performance.
We can move on to Best Actress now, which you actually get to choose our actual official predictions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess you can.
It should be Cate Blanchett. I think it will be Cate Blanchett. If it's not Cate Blanchett, this is the only one that I think I'll be mad if it's not. Because Michelle Yeoh was great, very good at Everything Everywhere. But Cate Blanchett was like a generationally good performance, like an all-time great performance.
Yeah. I still haven't seen Tar. I'm gonna get yelled at. I still haven't seen it, but yeah, I mean Michelle Yeoh is like probably the best part of Everything Everywhere at Once, in my opinion. Without it, like I feel like the emotional core of the film doesn't work.
what really makes me want Cate Blanchett to win over Michelle Yeoh is that Cate Blanchett in Tar creates like this incredible iconic character. I don't even think that many people have seen Tar, but it's amazing how much like social media mileage people are getting out of the character of Lydia Tar.
And it's fantastic because Lydia Tar is objectively a horrible person, but she is so charming in the movie that she can't help but win you over, and it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And also, like, there was a big wave of like Tar as a biopic, which I think is spurred by her acting in the movie because it feels like she's doing an impression of a fictional person. It's just
Speaking of biopics in Best Actress, I am shocked and appalled that Blonde was nominated here.
Yeah, the rest of the category, other than those two, kind of weak, honestly.
I love Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans.
But why did she go for this category?
I don't
This
know.
is a weird category
I
for a
don't
go
know.
show. Yeah, should have gone for best
objectively
supporting.
supporting.
She probably should have gone in supporting.
Yeah. We can now move on to best supporting actress. I don't think it's a major question on who will win it. I think it's going to be Angela Bassett. I think Angela Bassett is really giving a good performance in Black Panther. I think that Black Panther probably wouldn't have worked without her character. She kind of gives like the anchor point to build the movie on, because some of the plot's kind of weak in that movie, but like her performance is just really great.
Here's the thing. This whole category is kind of weak.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of strong players. I think it would have been a Michelle Williams runaway if she had ran in supporting. But it is what it is. I guess I'd like to see it go to Angela Bassett. She's great, but it's more of like a career achievement Oscar as opposed to she's really great in Black Panther, which is fine.
But yeah.
It should go to Carrie Condon.
You think Carrie Condon?
As important as Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson are to the thematic weight of the movie, I think Carrie Condon is almost more important in her leaving the island and living her own life and being kind of like the antithesis of Brendan Gleeson's character. It's so fantastic. And it's just, I think it wipes everything else in the category. And I think specifically the Everything Everywhere players in that category are especially very weak. Like Jamie Lee Curtis is just like a slapstick cartoon, which is great. I love slapstick.
She's really funny.
But like supporting actress, and Stephanie Hsu, I mean, this is kind of a hot take. I really did not like her performance in the movie.
Earlier in her performance, it kind of is a little bit of overacting, especially when she's like first introduced. It's kind of goofy, which the whole movie's kind of goofy, but just in a way that doesn't vibe with the rest of it. But I think Jamie Lee Curtis is good for what she's given, but she's not a supporting actress nominee role.
Yeah, no, she does well in the movie.
It's a bit
just
character.
Like, yeah,
it's like
bit.
it's not
fun.
It's
not
like cool,
a
but-
character, and there's not really. It's like a very nice physical performance, especially early on when she's making stuff and fighting with Evelyn. But like, you know, we've seen that before. It's fine.
All right, we can move on to original screenplay now. Yeah.
All the same nominees as the directors, and honestly, like, all of these would be worthy winners. I didn't really care for Triangle of Sadness that much, but I at least like what it's trying to do. And I would love to see Spielberg and Kushner get one, but like ultimately the best and the worthy winner is Banshees, which is one of the best scripts.
Yeah,
probably the best script of the year. And
I think this might be the strongest category this year, to be honest. Every single one of these has a great screenplay. Triangle of Sadness, I think, honestly, the writing is probably the best part. I think some like the cinematography and directing isn't that great in Triangle of Sadness. I think the writing is what makes it funny and good. Especially like, not many people have seen Triangle of Sadness, but the ship scene, I think the writing of that is hilarious.
Yeah.
And I think that what makes the movie good.
I agree. I think every single one here, if it won, I wouldn't be super mad. Usually, except Banshees is in this category, which is so overwhelmingly incredible.
Which is kind of, that's kind of crazy that any other year, any of the other 4 films winning, I would be really happy. But the fact that Banshee's just like so well written, such a really good screenplay.
those characters are so strong.
Yeah.
The emotions are so rich. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's also unbelievably depressing. I have a personal love of The Fabelmans, so obviously that one was the one that made me feel the most emotional of the bunch. But like Banshees was throwing me all over the map.
Yeah.
And like Banshees, the themes of it come to you in waves, like over time. You're not just hit with it like immediately by the end of the movie. It just keeps on coming.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot of the others are pretty one note. I think, thematically. Like, especially Triangle of Sadness. It's just very, like, you watch, you're like, all right.
Yeah.
Cool. On that, like, level, the Fablemans thematically is pretty interesting, like, metatextually. As far as purely the script, I guess it was cool.
Good.
There's some great lines in the Fablemans.
Yeah, there's some.
I've gone back
great
and read
lines.
this Fablemans screenplay twice.
There's some zingers.
There's some great ones.
Now, original screenplay, probably one of the strongest categories. Adapted screenplay, not quite as good.
Every single one of these is bad. I guess I like Glass Onion.
I think Glass
a
Onion
bit.
will win. I think it's the best screenplay out of all these, but I don't know why they nominated Top Gun Maverick for screenplay. It's well made, but its writing isn't especially
It's
anything
just
great.
it's very like screenwriting 101.
Yeah.
This is what you want. This is 3-act structure executed very well. The characters are all like very basic archetypes. It's
Yeah. And then All Quiet also getting nominated is weird. I know
I can't
for people who've read
stand
the
All
book,
Quiet.
yeah.
It is an awful. If you want to say the script is fine, sure,
But it's
an
adapted.
adapted screenplay. It is an awful adaptation of that book. It changes so much that apart from really being set in the same place and having the same character names, it really isn't that story.
No.
It's not All Quiet.
It's different. Like, it changes the themes pretty significantly with the removal of, like, some vital scenes.
And the worst part about it is it's probably going to win.
Yeah. Although I think Glass Onion might win. Because I think, like, Glass Onion is just, the writing is just, like, it's kind of like a puzzle in the form of a movie. There's like snippets in the background, which I think is mainly due to the directing. But I think Glass Onion just is so well liked because it's, like, funny and well made.
I think if the first one wasn't really standing a chance.
Did it win? I don't
know.
know.
No, it didn't. No.
Yeah, if I guess, the first one didn't win. I don't know
I don't
this
think it
one.
did.
I think this one had a better script than the first one. That's like a
Really?
really hot.
Yeah,
I think
no,
this was
I
a better
agree.
movie than the first
Yeah,
one.
I
too.
agree.
I think it was funnier.
You
I
guys
think it
are
was more
crazy.
interesting.
I
it's
think
a good take, and you know it.
I
You know
think
hard
Glass
votes.
Onion will win simply because I don't think the rest of the category is very strong. I think All Quiet might win for some other stuff, and then they're going to give Glass Onion this nomination because it is a well-liked movie, a well-made movie, and it's, like, funny.
I honestly, I could see women talking. I
Yeah.
think it's a very. I didn't really
Yeah,
care
I
for the movie that much,
I didn't
but
see
that
Another vibe.
my issue wasn't so much with the screenplay as just I thought the direction was quite dull, and the acting was unimpressive. But I mean, it's a very topical. It's tackling a very topical issue. They always like their kind of chewy dialogue, which Women Talking has, for better or for worse. But I could see it happening. But I do probably think it's going to be All Quiet.
Should be Glass Onion.
Should be
That'd be
Glass
cool.
Onion.
Yeah, I agree. It's the only decent screenplay of the bunch, but.
Yeah, those are all our major nomination choices. That's it.
Shout out the Oscars.
Shout out the Oscars.